Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayavdi Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Okay, if anyone wants to read the shloka and the Sanskrit part, you can raise your hand. Okay, go ahead, Manija and Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Tatshut Parishanto Nivrato Graham Evan Kritah Snano Chittahara Samvishesha Gatklamaha. Mataji, aage.
Is the voice interrupted only for me or for everybody else? Can you hear, Mataji? Can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji, clear, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Clear, Mataji.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Manish and Mataji, you can unmute yourself one more time. Please read again.
Tatshut Parishanto Nivrato Braham Evan Katsnano Chittahara Samvishesha Gatklamaha.
Thank you very much. Okay, synonyms and translation. If someone wants to read, raise your hand, please. You read yesterday, Mataji. Let's give chance to someone else. Anybody else who didn't read yesterday?
Okay, Mataji.
Reena Gupta, Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji. Reena Gupta, Mataji, you can unmute yourself.
Ji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Tat thereafter, Shruta by hunger, Trit thirst, Parishranta being too fatigued, Nivrata having ceased, Graham Evan came back to his home, Krita taken, Snana bath, Uchit ahara exactly required foodstuff. Samvivesh took rest, and Gat Kalama is freed from all fatigue. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. After this, the king, very much fatigued, hungry and thirsty, returned to his royal palace. After returning, he took a bath and had an appropriate dinner. Then he took rest and thus became freed from all restlessness. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki jai. All right. A materialistic person works throughout the week very hard. He is always thinking, where is money? Where is money? Then at the end of the week, he wants to retire from these activities and go to some secluded place to rest. King Puranjan returned to his home because he was very much fatigued from hunting animals in the forest. In this way, his conscience came to stop him from committing further sinful activities and make him return home. In Bhagavad Gita, materialistic persons are described as dushkritina, which indicate those who are always engaged in sinful activities. When a person comes to his senses and understands how he is engaging in sinful activities, he returns to his conscience, which is herein figuratively described as the palace. Generally, a materialistic person is infected by the material modes of passion and ignorance. The results of passion and ignorance are lust and greed. In the life of a materialist, activity means working in lust and greed. However, when he comes to his senses, he wants to retire. According to Vedic civilization, such retirement is positively recommended, and this portion of life is called Vanaprastha. Retirement is absolutely necessary for a materialist who wants to become free from the activities of a sinful life. King Puranjana's coming home, taking bath, and having an appropriate dinner indicate that a materialistic person must retire from sinful activities and become purified by accepting a spiritual master and hearing from him about the values of life. If one would do so, he would feel completely refreshed, just as one feels after taking a bath. After receiving initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, one must abandon all kinds of sinful activities, namely illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat eating. The word uchit taraha used in this verse is important. Uchit means appropriate. One must eat appropriately and not take after food as hogs take after stool. For a human being, there are eatables described in Bhagavad Gita 17 chapter verse 8 as sattvic ahar, or food in the mode of goodness. One should not indulge in eating food in the modes of passion and ignorance. This is called uchit ahar, or appropriate eating. One who is always eating meat or drinking liquor, which is eating and drinking in passion and ignorance, must give these things up so that his real consciousness may be awakened. In this way, one may become peaceful and refreshed. If one is restless or fatigued, one cannot understand the science of God. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, verse 20, Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate. Unless one can become free from the influence of passion and ignorance, he cannot be pacified. And without being pacified, one cannot understand the science of God. King Puranjana's returning home is indicative of man's returning to his original consciousness, known as Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is absolutely necessary for one who has committed a lot of sinful activities, especially killing animals or hunting in the forest. Om Agyan Timirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishpanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Prem. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. After this, the king, very much fatigued, hungry and thirsty, returned to his royal palace. After returning, he took a bath and had an appropriate dinner. Then he took rest, and thus he became freed from all restlessness. Okay, we are reading from the chapter 26 of 4th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, which is entitled King Puranjana goes to forest to hunt and the queen becomes angry. So far we have discussed that Narad Muni has explained King Puranjana represents what? Yes, who can remind me? King Puranjana represents what?
Living entity.
Huh?
Living entity.
Conditioned living entity.
Conditioned.
In the material body. Very nice. And Narad Muni explained the construction of the body of the living entity in great detail. And then after that, we also studied that queen represents what?
Material intelligence.
Material intelligence, which is tainted with the mode of passion.
Passion.
So he wants to go to the forest to hunt, or the desire to do sinful activity is very, very intense. He knows it's very difficult for him to leave the queen, but he anyhow goes because the desire to commit a sinful activity in a conditioned living entity is very intense, unless and until one is following the Vedic rules and regulation. And then couple of verses were describing, Narad Muni described that how if one follows the rules and regulations, one does not become entangled in. If one is doing an activity according to the Vedic injunctions, one does not become entangled in what?
Material modes of nature.
And very nice. And
he'll have a perfect knowledge. He will be
okay.
when he is associated with saintly person, then he will have perfect knowledge and he is eligible to go back home, back to Godhead.
Okay, nice, thank you. So he'll not become entangled in the fruit of our reaction. So we'll do the fruit action, but we'll not be entangled in the fruit of the action. But if somebody is not doing it, then one has to suffer the whole cycle and go down and down and down more. Prabhupada writes, right? Go down and down, more down. And then the continuation of the material life continues. This is a big secret. We have this access to the secret by the grace of Srila Prabhupada. So he goes to the forest, he kills without having mercy, without any consideration, all kinds of animals, small animals, big animals, gaming animals, everybody. He just kills, which is very, very painful for a pious or a common person to see. And then what happens? He becomes tired. So this is all allegorical. So the hunger and thirst, right? Becoming tired and means coming back to conscience. Hunger and thirst represents that when he thought of his sinful act, he was troubled. Okay, and then he returned to his royal palace. Royal palace is allegorically representing that he gave up his killing and returned to the place of Vedic knowledge or Shastra. And then he took a bath. Means that he actually invited the Brahmanas and atoned for his misdoing. And at appropriate dinner means that he gave up eating meat and liquor. Okay, he had appropriate dinner according to that. And then being refreshed, he took rest. It took rest and became free from all restlessness means that he was somewhat steady now. Because when a person is doing sinful activity, their life may look very lavish from outside, but they are very restless. They're bound to be restless because the mind and intelligence are agitated by the modes of passion and ignorance, and they will not let the living entity take rest. It's not possible. The rest is only possible in the mode of goodness, when somebody is at peace within and outside, and is able to face all the repercussions, which the material world will anyway give to everybody. Nobody will be exempt from repercussions in their lifetime. Right? Everybody has to go through something. So Prabhupada is this particular verse, particular opening statement that Prabhupada is writing. Prabhupada writes kind of a same statement in the beginning of Nectar of Devotion, and then explains that Rupa Goswami calls this principle as what? So a person accepts the life of a materialist, works whole week, weighs money, and on the weekend goes to rest in a secluded place and wants to forget about the whole thing that they did on the week. So Srila Prabhupada explains, Rupa Goswami Prabhupada says, this is what principle?
Pratyahara prayasascha.
Nectar of devotion. Okay. So what is this principle? Accepting something and then rejecting the same title and going to search some other title. And then accepting same title on Monday to Friday, and then rejecting it on Friday evening till Sunday evening, then going back to it on Monday morning again. This is called, according to Rupa Goswami Prabhupada,
Kunjara Snana.
No, a good try. Thank you. That's like you do something, you atone for something, and then you come out and do the same thing again. This is called Bhoga Tyaga principle. That's what Prabhupada writes in the beginning of Nectar of Devotion, that Bhoga Tyaga. One accepts, Bhoga means enjoying, right? Enjoying that title. And then Tyaga, renounces that particular title and doesn't want to do anything with it. This is very prominent in the Western countries. I don't know if it is prominent in Eastern countries also. I honestly don't know in today's time, because it's been so long. But in the Western countries, it's very, very prominent. That the whole week, a person is, burning the lamp at both the ends and working. And then Friday evening, even the shops have the happy hour for, when you drive around, you see that Friday evening, 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, the beer is at half the price. So even the shops are like that. Again, the restaurants are open late. I can say in America, the restaurants are open late till 1 a.m., 2 a.m. They are even delivering till 2 a.m. on the weekends. On weekdays, they might close at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., but on weekends, it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Is it the same in India? Is it the
Yes,
same lifestyle
Mataji.
in India?
Now it has
It is?
become.
Yes,
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji.
Among the youth,
Youth,
and the
Mataji.
IT working
Yes.
people, no,
Yes.
it is prominent because I can see in my community, most of them are working in IT, and I will be wondering what are they going to do, ordering food around 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. What are they going to do? How it's going to digest? All these things I used to think. Now since you said no, so I'm just recollecting.
Even in Mumbai, Mataji, it is like that happy hour. So beer or any
yeah,
other
happy
thing,
hour.
1+1 free. So it is just crowded in Mumbai also, the happy hour everywhere. So 1+1 beer, 1+1 this, and one get one and buy one free. Aisa kuch hote. Happy hours.
Yeah, so that's like Bhoga Tyaga, because they want to forget what they did on the whole week, because they're like so much afflicted by lust and greed. And lust and greed are like the bites of a scorpio. You want to run away. So we can't run away because the person doesn't have another knowledge, another activity, or another place where the person can go. So what they do, they just forget about it by intoxicating or doing more sinful activity. So we want to cover one sinful activity and we do more sinful activity, and then we continue. So Prabhupada is saying then that this is never going to lead one to an appropriate consciousness. If somebody really wants to come back to their senses, when he comes to his senses, then one wants to actually learn that why this question needs to come, that why am I suffering if I don't want to suffer? Why questions are not very good questions, but this question is authorized. Why am I suffering if I don't want to suffer? If I don't want to live like this, then why am I not suffering? All right, so such people, they do get tired because mode of passion is exhausting, right, at the end of the day. And ignorance is laziness anyway. So these activities make one tired, and then one really wants to give up everything. And Prabhupada is saying this is encouraged. Yes, give up. It's positively, retirement is positively recommended. Give up and actually become a Vanaprastha. But the problem is that if they still don't have a knowledge what better to do, then what do they do? What do people do if they don't know anything better than living materially and trying to become happy by the object of touching the senses and the sense objects? Eyes want to go there, legs want to go there. What are the activities of such people when they retire? What do you observe in your life?
They will travel to
Traveling, card playing.
Traveling, card playing, okay. What else?
Watch television.
Television, right? Now they want to forget about that also. Television is another addiction. It's addicting, right? And what else they do?
take up different
Prabhupada,
activities
Huh?
like hobbies. They will take up different hobbies.
they do pick up hobbies.
Hobbies.
Keep
Watch,
meeting friends and partying.
Yeah. Prabhupada said he was in Paris. I think the lecture was from Paris. He said they were like 70-year-old, 60-year-old men going to club in the night. And he said, what is that club? Topless, bottomless. Basically, the exploitation, the desire to exploit continues. But if somebody is saying Vanaprastha, okay, retirement is different than Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means situated. Prastha means you're situated in renunciation, trying to become a renunciant. Then one needs to have a knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Okay, no matter what one has done, if one becomes sincere and accepts a spiritual master and stops this sinful cycle or 4 pillars of every sinful activity out there, then one has a chance to become a saintly person and actually go back to Krishna. And Shastras are encouraging it. I'm not saying it. This Shastras are encouraging that one needs to make their activities obviously, what we can see, free from mode of passion and ignorance. Obviously free. We cannot say that I can do whatever I want with my life and then at the end everybody is going to the same place, right? Impersonally say that all the rivers are ultimately flowing to the sea. Have you heard that? All the rivers ultimately flowing to the sea. So no matter what method you are adopting, then everybody is going to end up at the same place at the last. This is what they say. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes
It
and
was
no.
that simple, the life
Yes
would have
and
been
no.
very easy.
Yes and no. Huh? Somebody said yes and no. I can do all sinful activities throughout my life. And I can, do it throughout my life. Not like I don't do anything better later in life. Then I'm going to end up in the same place as the saintly person will end up at the end of my life. It's correct. Because all the rivers are ending in the sea ultimately.
No.
No,
If it would have been that simple, the life would have been very easy.
Yeah. If it would have been very easy, or you mean sinful activities are easier?
If it would have been
when-
that simple, life would have been very easy. We all would be with the God back to Godhead without doing
Oh,
anything.
okay, that way. Yeah. Yeah, you can say that. So it is absolutely wrong. All the rivers are ending up in the sea. So basically, Prabhupada explains that whenever there is a comparison, a living thing has to be compared to a living thing. The river is not living. We in literal sense. It's not that a walking human being can be compared to a river. That's grammatically absolutely wrong. Prabhupada explains that. Okay. And the other thing is that Krishna doesn't say that. If Krishna would have said, we could have, accepted it. But he says, Yanti Deva Vritat Devan, Putrin Yanti Putrivitaha, Bhute Yanti Bhutani, Madhyajo Yanti, whatever that means, like whatever you're worshipping, we go there. Whoever is worshipping the demigods goes to the demigods. Whoever is worshipping the Bhutas and Pritas will go to their planet. Whoever is worshipping Krishna will end up with Krishna. This is Krishna's statement. I don't think anybody in the entire creation has that much of authority to change Krishna's statement. If somebody tries to change Krishna's statement, then that person is just leave that association. There's no need to waste time. Leave that person to the time factor and go on, because I'm not an acharya. I can try to teach, or I can try to learn myself, but if somebody is not, then you need to have that sense of detachment from everybody around you, because we have to travel our own path. Every single person around us needs to have their own journey. So you can help the other person, but if the other person is absolutely antagonist and not understanding and still wants to hold on to their conviction, the whole world is waiting. Just go on. I'm telling you, the whole world is waiting. Everybody loves to hear this. There are so many people who actually, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted it to be propagated. Don't lose your life or time for one person, two people, nothing. Go on preaching, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will go on helping us and showing us the way as to who we can actually cultivate, who can cultivate me. And then at least I can, charity begins from home. At least I can become free from the influence of passion and ignorance. Because unless and until I am pacified, I am doing this, I cannot give it to anybody else. So Krishna consciousness is a necessity. Prabhupada is saying absolutely necessary for one who has committed a lot of sinful activities, especially killing animals or hunting in the forest. So we can say, somebody can say, I have been a vegetarian all my life. I've never killed any animals. So I have a choice that I may choose to become Krishna conscious. I may not choose. Yeah, is that correct?
No,
Because I've
even if you
eaten
don't
vegetarian
make any sinful activities, doesn't make you free from the bondage. You got to get free from the bondage. Only Krishna consciousness can leave you free from bondage.
Very nice. Thank you. That's a very nice statement. Also, a person who has been a vegetarian all their life doesn't mean that they haven't committed any sin. Unless and until they have eaten only Krishna prasadam. When we cook, we are killing so many animals, microbes. When we are, cutting vegetables, turning the pot on, the fire on, the water, so many sinful activities. Prabhupada said we have to give a record of everything. I was hearing Prabhupada, he was taking the name of this yogi. I don't remember the name. I apologize, but he said that the yogi had done many pious activities in his life. And at the end of the life, he was still taken in front of Yamaraj. And Yamaraj asked, Maharaj, you want to reap the benefit of your pious activity, or you want to reap the benefit of your impious activity first? So he said, okay, give me the impious activity. And the impious activity was that he had to be taken to a place where a very hot and sharp needle had to be entered from his rectum and had to come out from his head. So he said, why this horrendous punishment? What did I do? So he said, Maharaj, when you were a small boy, you had, I think Prabhupada said, an ant or a small insect, and you had pierced that insect's body with a sharp object. So small boy, not even aware that this is right or wrong. So Prabhupada said that even is taken into account. Just imagine you're surrounded, even breathing, even talking, even brushing the teeth. So who can escape? Nobody can escape. So basically everybody is needed to become Krishna conscious, because that is the only way. Because Krishna is called as what? In Upanishad, there is a term which describes Krishna as the supreme pure. What is Krishna called as?
Purnam,
Apapavidham,
Purnam,
Papa Buddham and Shuddham. Papa Buddham or Shuddham comes supremely pure and no sin can touch him. Okay, only there. If we want to take a chance and if we don't want to believe the words of the Shastras, we have to remember I have a choice. You can remember, don't believe the words of the Shastras and live the life according to, what is that? What is Prabhupada says in one lecture, I had sent it to one group of teachers. Live life, what is that? Johnny Walker king size, something like that. Prabhupada makes a joke in the lecture. We can live and then continue to live in this material world. But if I'm on the way back home, then I have to be extremely careful about my conduct and this life. How am I conducting my life consciously? Extremely vigilant about my steps. Where am I going? A devotee is not misguided because a devotee is going to Krishna. A materialist is always misguided. They don't know where they're going. I don't have to become like them. I don't have to. I don't want to. So like that, if we make a choice, then we have to stick to that choice and then continue with that. And there will be so many ups and downs, but keep the association. That's why we need association. And discuss it out in that association with the appropriate kind of devotee, and hear them also. Everybody needs to have that relationship of a devotee in their life. Everybody.